What's going on, guys? With the official patch 1.5 livestream on Friday, we received official details on two new artifact sets coming to the game that appear to be tailor-made for the two rate-up 5 stars Zhongli and Eula. I wanted to take some time to give my thoughts on these two sets, who I think they can work well on, and if they are worth your resin for characters that you have already geared. I think new artifact sets being introduced into the game is very positive and gives players something to grind for and test, but I do think Mihoyo could have done a little better with one of these two sets in particular. Before we get into it, I just want to say that these are my preliminary thoughts based on what we know today, and that further testing will be required when these sets are introduced before any final conclusions can be made, so take this with a grain of salt. So the two new sets coming to the game are the Tenacity of the Millelith and the Pale Flame. Let's talk about the Tenacity set first. The 2-piece set bonus states that HP is increased by 20%, and the 4-piece set bonus states that when an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of all nearby party members is increased by 20%, and their shield strength is increased by 30% for 3 seconds. This effect can be triggered every 0.5 seconds. This effect can still be triggered even when the character who is using this artifact set is not on the field. Mihoyo did not mention that this effect can stack with itself, so I'm assuming that if an elemental skill hits an opponent, the duration is simply reset, but obviously this will need to be tested, so take this with a grain of salt. So I think it is pretty obvious that this artifact set is tailor-made for Zhongli, as he is currently the only character in the game that can make use of both the 2-piece and 4-piece set effect. His damage for his entire kit at least partially scales off his max HP, and his shield strength is based fully on the talent level and his max HP. Additionally, his elemental skill allows him to place pillars down which apply geo damage every 2 seconds, and he is able to keep at least one pillar on the field at all times. This means that in theory he can maintain 100% uptime on the 4-piece set, making him an even more broken support. When shield meta first started to be a thing in Genshin, there was a lot of misunderstandings around the Bull-Eyed set, and specifically the increased shield strength of 35% from the 2-piece bonus not transferring to other characters. So I guess Mihoyo has finally answered and provided an artifact set that allows increased shield strength for the entire party, which is really great. So for Zhongli, this set will increase his damage, increase shield strength based on the 2-piece and 4-piece set effects, and increase party members' attack, making it kind of a hybrid of the Noblesse Oblige and Retracing Bull-Eyed artifact sets. As a support and burst DPS, Zhongli's best in slot set currently is the 2-piece Noblesse Oblige with 2-piece Archaic Petra, as these will boost both his skill and burst damage. From my preliminary calculations, his skill and burst damage will decrease by around 6% and 10% respectively with this new set. However, I did not min-max stats with the two sets to find an optimum build. Overall, I think that the damage potential of these two sets for a support are close enough to not be much of a concern. Because his skill and burst damage both scale off his max HP, the 20% HP ends up being comparable to the 15% geo damage bonus from the Petra set. His shield strength, however, will increase significantly. At talent level 8, his base shield strength is equal to 2,311 plus 20.48% of his max HP. So for Zhongli at level 90 with a plus 20 flower and HP percent sands alone, his base shield strength is equal to about 11.6k. With the 4-piece Tenacity set active, this increases to 16.2k, which is about a 40% increase in shield strength. So at the sacrifice of a little damage on Zhongli, you'll get a much stronger shield and attack buff for your team. But what other characters can this set work for? If we look at the other characters that scale off of HP, we have Diona, Barbara, Bennett, Xingqiu, Beidou, and Hu Tao, which is a good number. However, of these characters, we really only want to build HP on Diona, Barbara, Hu Tao, and possibly Bennett. I'd argue that Diona is the only character I'd consider the 2-piece set on, because a full maiden set is better on Barbara, damage focus sets are better on Hu Tao, and full noblesse is typically better on Bennett. Because Diona's shield scales off HP as well as her healing, this set actually makes a lot of sense on her. We also have quite a few characters that can create shields currently that in theory the 4-piece set would be great for, including Noelle, Diona, Xinyan, or crystallized shields created by Albedo and Ningguang. However, of this list, only Diona also scales with HP. I really wanted this 4-piece set to work for Diona, but it unfortunately does not, as her skill cooldown at minimum is 6 seconds and it does not do damage over time. Even with a sacrificial bow at refinement 5, she can only maintain 6 seconds of uptime every 16 seconds on the 4-piece effect. However, I would argue that the 2-piece Tenacity plus 2-piece Maidens is now a great option for the combined healer-shielder role. I still usually recommend a full Noblesse set on Diona because I think it works very well with her kit, but I do believe this 2-piece effect is great depending on your needs for Diona. Assuming Diona is level 70, has a max HP of 20k, and an elemental skill talent level of 8, this 20% HP increase will increase shield strength by about 300 HP for her hold skill at the expense of a small amount of healing. This isn't very significant, however, so I don't think it's worth farming this set if you already have her built. So there are two other characters aside from Zhongli that can supply a shield and maintain this 4-piece effect, who are Albedo and Xinyan. Albedo can maintain 100% uptime of the 4-piece set effect because his Solar Isotoma can proc geo damage every 2 seconds, and he can have this on the field at all times. This means that he can provide increased shield strength and damage to his team at the expense of his own damage. Xinyan can also proc this effect with her level 3 shield, which pulses damage every 2 seconds, but this shield is reliant on hitting 3 enemies with her skill, and at best only has a 70% uptime if it does not break before the duration ends. Even though you'll take a damage loss on these characters, I do think in some instances this set can work, especially if you're struggling with survival and difficult content, as you will not only get a significant shield buff, but also get the effect of the 20% attack increase. Overall, I'm disappointed in this set as the only character in the entire game that can make full use of the 4-piece set is Zhongli. I do not think it makes a lot of sense for Mihoyo to make a supporting artifact set that can only work on a single character as intended. On top of this, Zhongli already has a very strong shield and received huge buffs in patch 1.3. An adjustment to the duration of the 4-piece bonus could make this a great set for Diona as well, and significantly better on the other units mentioned. There are other characters in the game that could desperately use buffs to again make them viable, such as all of the Electro characters, Chi-Chi, and Barbara to name a few. Hopefully Mihoyo has more artifact sets in store to help some of these characters that have fallen off in potential over time. Okay, so the second new set being introduced into the game is the Pale Flame set, and I'm much more optimistic about this set because I do believe that it's much less limiting and can work for a number of characters in the game. The 2-piece set bonus states that physical damage is increased by 25%, and the 4-piece set bonus states that when an elemental skill hits an opponent, attack is increased by 9% for 7 seconds. This effect stacks up to 2 times and can be triggered once every 0.3 seconds. Once 2 stacks are reached, the 2-set effect is increased by 100%. The way that I interpret the 4-piece set is that once an elemental skill hits an opponent twice in a 7-second period, the full 4-piece set will be active, which means a 50% physical damage bonus plus 18% attack. I'm assuming that a single instance of elemental skill damage will then need to occur every 7 seconds or less to keep this effect up, and that this duration will be reset each time an elemental skill is applied. However, do take this with a grain of salt as it does need to be tested. Currently, the best in slot artifact set for physical damage characters is either a 2-piece Gladiator with 2-piece Bloodstained or 4-piece Gladiator. The new best in slot set will be a 4-piece Pale Flame for any character that can keep the set bonus active, because this will not only apply to both normal and charge attacks, but will do more damage than the previous mentioned sets as well. Even if a character can't keep this bonus up, or if that is not something you want to manage, running a 2-piece Pale Flame with 2-piece Bloodstain should be better in almost all cases than the current hybrid set, and should give similar results to a 4-piece Gladiator set while being significantly easier to farm. So what characters do I think this set will be good for? I think the Fischl, Zhongli, Eula, Razor, and Physical Keqing will likely be the best users of this set. Fischl can have nearly 100% uptime on Oz by rotating between her skill and burst, and Oz attacks every 1 second, meaning that Fischl can get full stacks up very quickly. Similarly, Zhongli's Pillar does damage on cast and procs every 2 seconds, making him another great user of this set. Although we do not have official details on Eula, preliminary information shows that her press skill cooldown is 4 seconds, giving her sufficient time to proc this twice in the 7-second window. Razor's first passive talent gives him a 5-second skill cooldown and allows him to reset the cooldown with his burst, meaning he can get up 2 stacks very quickly. And Keqing can perform 2 attacks with her elemental skill in a very short time period and immediately proc the 4-piece effect. Now, because of her skill cooldown, she will lose the effect before her cooldown is over and will need to refresh to maintain stacks. Depending on your playstyle and rotations, this may not be ideal for everyone, but in theory should work well. While I think that the 4-piece set can work on Jean, Kaya, and Rosaria with their 6-second skill cooldowns, I think it can be risky because there's only 1 second of time to react and keep the buff up, in which case I would personally prioritize a 2-piece Bloodstain and 2-piece Pale Flame. This can just be difficult to manage and greatly discourage swapping characters to the point that I do not think it is worth risking the additional 25% physical damage bonus. Xinyan and Zhongli are the other 2 physical carries that could benefit from this set and proc the 4-piece bonus. Zhongli will likely not be able to consistently keep up the 4-piece bonus, as there is approximately 7 seconds between Guoba attacks if her skill is started upon cooldown. And while Xinyan's level 3 shield procs Pyro every 2 seconds, it is dependent on her hitting 3 enemies, as well as her shield not breaking before the duration ends for consistent uptime on this set. So again, I probably wouldn't recommend this set for these characters. In my opinion, even if you think you can keep the 4-piece set bonus active the majority of the time your character is on the field, you should prioritize the artifacts that give the best overall stats to your character. It is not worth trying to make this 4-piece set work for the additional 18% attack if you have to run bad substats otherwise. That's all I got for you guys today. I want to know what you guys think of the new artifact sets in the comments, and who, if anyone, you're planning to run them on. As always, if you guys found this video helpful and informative, please consider subscribing down below. I put out Genshin Impact videos just like this one every single week. I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.